Good evening. My name is John Cooper. I'm the director of the Sundance Film Festival. I love this night because it's the closing night film, and it's been such a great 10 days, I can't even tell you. You, of course, are here for the world premiere of The Fundamentals of Caring. I saw this film at some industry kind of almost creepy screening, and I just sat there, and as soon as it was over, I said, this is closing night film for Sundance, and because of the cast and all that. And I know a lot of the cast and like the sweetest people. What I didn't know is the director, and that is Rob Burnett, and he has turned out to be such a classy guy here at Sundance. I'm not going to talk about the film, I'm just going to talk about the guy. So kind and so friendly to all of us. He has a huge career already, but I think we forget when people take chances in their lives with making a film instead of all the other things they do, how the bravery it takes to do that. And that's why I'm really excited to be introducing you to him tonight. This is a marvelous film. I think you're going to have a really good time. Please help me welcome Rob Burnett.
All right, so here's how the film ends. Worst director intro in Sundance history. Thank you so much for coming. I know a lot of you waited in line for a long time. I appreciate that. The notion that our little film is the closing film at the Sundance Film Festival in this amazing auditorium is beyond anything that I could have ever imagined. I'm so excited to be showing you the film. And by you, I mean you, this audience in particular, because we know that people that come to Sundance love movies. And we also know that people that stay till the end of Sundance really love movies. You didn't leave like those losers on Tuesday, people. You stuck it out. Yes. Those people, they go to a party, they're done at 10. You people stay until 4 a.m. when the cops show up. I like it. You're who we want to show our movie to. We're going to come back at the end and answer some questions. The cast is here. They're seeing the movie for the first time as well, so that's exciting, right along with you. And I just want to very quickly say thank you so much to all the people at Sundance. This has been such a lovely week for me. We had this brunch with Robert Redford, and he talked about the history of Sundance and the origins of Sundance, and it is just such a pure, good thing to build this community of filmmakers. And that purity, even though this festival has grown into something probably beyond anyone's imagination, it still exists through John Cooper and Trevor Groff. And I'm just very grateful to be even a small part of it. So thank you. Oh, and the volunteers, got a shout out to the volunteers. If it wasn't for those people in the orange jackets, I'd be wandering in the snow looking for the apples right now. So thank you. And I hope you like the movie. Here it comes. Thank you.
Please join me in welcoming back Rob Burnett.
Thank you so much. Thanks for staying. I'm going to bring up the cast in a moment, but before I do, I just want to mention somebody that's in the audience, actually two people, both of whom, without however you'd say that, we would not be here. And that is the author of The Revised Fundamentals of Caregiving, Jonathan Evison, is here. Believe me when I tell you that everything that is right with this comes from his book. He created these characters, and he was extraordinarily generous with me to let us, play around with them. So I'm very eternally grateful. And also, we have Case Levinson, who is the real-life Trevor. Jonathan was a caregiver, and Case is very happy to just when I think it's maximum, there's something else that happens that's great, and that's that. Thank you for that. Casey's both nicer and better looking than Craig, just so we're clear. I'm going to bring up, so unfortunately, Selena, who was such a trooper, she was incredibly sick, came out, did press for us, came and watched as much of the movie as she could, had to go and catch a plane. She unfortunately is not here for this part, sorry about that, but we do have Paul Rudd and Craig Roberts. The acclaimed Donna Gelati, please come up to the stage. Do I have to keep talking now? Hey. They're the boys. And the girls.
Okay, so we are going to open this up to a Q&A. If any of you have any questions for Rob or any of these folks up here, raise your hand. I will call on you. Please try to speak as loudly as possible. I'll try to repeat the question if necessary, and we'll give it a go. Okay, we'll start with this lady right down front here. The question was for Paul. What did he do to prepare for the role of a caregiver?
Probably not enough. You know, I thought that, you know, Rob wrote such a vivid script. And as far as some of the practical things, like how to hold Craig and how, you know, those kinds of, like the physical stuff, we worked on a little bit with people who knew what they were doing. And that, you know, and then, but that was really, that was about it. I'm such a fraud. I feel terrible. Did I do anything else? What else did I do?
Nope.
No, that was it. That was it.
I kept asking you to, and you said, no, I'm too big of a star, if you recall.
I'm sorry.
All right, well,
Shoot me an email.
How about Craig? What did you do to prepare for the role of a guy with muscular dystrophy?
Well, Rob set me up, but I'm from the UK, obviously, and Rob set me up with a few kids that were living with Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and I visited them and observed how they, you know, just operated on their, you know, normal day. So that was, yeah, pretty much it. Like pre-production, I spent as much time in the wheelchair as possible, just because I didn't want to look like a fraud, and, you know, like I didn't know how to.
Unlike his co-star.
And
we see who the real actor is.
As opposed to Paul. Yeah.
I should just mention that we actually had great help from people, Tracy and Benji Seckler, who run the Charlie's Fund, which is a very big DMD organization out of New York. They were amazing help to us. They allowed me to visit some kids with DMD, Craig and everybody, right down to, you know, details like how they pronounce the medicines and all of that. They were extraordinarily generous with us. We were very appreciative.
That's cool. Anyone else? Oh yeah, that person waving all the way in the back.
Thank you for a great film. What were your biggest...
I'm sorry?
Thank you, sir. I will repeat that one, Rob. He said thank you for a great film.
Okay, got it.
What were your biggest challenges that you overcome in this film?
trying not to be too funny.
Mission accomplished. That was too easy. Well, you know, I think what I'm about to say probably applies to any film on any budget. I bet you if J.J. Abrams was here, he probably would say the same thing. Well, maybe not that one, but you just make compromises. You know, we shot this in, I think, 24 days, which is not super fast. Sometimes you have big plans, and you look at the clock, and you're like, you know what, that brilliant 18-shot sequence I have, I think that can be done in 2. But that really is a credit to the actors, because these two, and Selena, and Megan, you can put a camera on them and kind of
whole, and an actual example of this was the shots leading into the big P at the end when Craig and Paul are sitting in the car and Paul gets the idea to do that. There was a large sequence there to allow the music to go, and we were just flat out of time and we couldn't afford to come back to this location. So that turned into just put the camera, it's not easy to just put cameras on people and let them keep giving you things every second. And that's what these guys did. It was also extraordinarily cold when we shot the movie, but boo-hoo for us. It's fine.
Sure, this guy right here.
Hi, well, thank you so much. I know Selena had to go because of feeling well, and that's part of my question to the public about her struggles with lupus, with another disease. I was wondering how personal experiences of your own personal experiences with disease influenced either casting or acting.
His question was, how do their personal experiences with disease influence casting or the making of this movie?
Well, I can tell you, and there's some people in the audience here that are very special to me, and unfortunately a childhood friend of mine passed away from ALS some years ago. I gotta show the bracelet. I know Jen and Kyle are out there, his wife and son. There it is. And he was, if you knew him, just a big, beautiful man. Funny and he was nice, not like, he didn't have the edge of Trevor. But to watch somebody kind of go through that, me tangentially involved with their family, and to watch the, a physical illness start to take that while the mind stays the same, and the kind of the utter mundanity of it day after day, and just that you have to continue to live your life. This story takes place entirely in the aftermath. That's the joy and the challenge, and again, all credit to Jonathan for doing this book. Ben, it's already happened, and Trevor's not being diagnosed. All the dramatic points are done, so now we're just living with it day by day. So in that way, it resonated for me.
Anybody else? Where are you back there? Yeah, okay. Her question was that DMD is a terrible disease, but one thing it doesn't take away is someone's personality. And what did they experience making this movie, and what did you take away from it?
For me, it's human interaction and how much it means and how much it can do. Our generation is very much consumed with technology and being individuals and almost being alone. And this movie is two people having suffered trauma coming together and putting aside their nihilistic ways and becoming better people through that. And that's the power of human beings, I think.
And to create such a friendship that you can joke about what seems to be off limits and unjokeable, and how it's necessary. The thing that I loved the most when I read this script was just what these two guys were dealing with and how funny it was, and that humor really is the thing that gets us through everything.
And also that it is, it's life affirming. There's always hope. These guys are kind of they're really at the end of their rope, each of them, and they don't give up ultimately. So there's hope for everybody. That's what I take away from it, and I think that's a fantastic message.
I also took a couple of the shirts.
Always good to get some shirts. This gentleman right here.
Was the giant cow a real exhibit?
That one was, I'm sorry, the question was the giant cow a real exhibit? When you start researching roadside attractions, giant blank, you can put anything in there and it exists. That one we kind of manufactured, but I will say that Rufus is what I call my son Charlie, who's in the audience today. So that's where Rufus came from. And my daughter Lucy I call Bo, which was Idaho Bo's, and my daughter Sydney I call El Capitan, and that's why that was Captain's Diner. That was my little tribute to my three little ones over there. And the back of my wife's head is in one of the shots.
So mean.
She's too pretty. She would distract from the rest of the stuff.
That's true.
That's called a save, married people.
There's somebody all the way in the back there. Yeah. Craig.
I had to kill a bunch of people to get this part. Miles Teller, Logan Lumen, they're all in a casket.
He's such a tall guy, there's no way I would have been able to pick him up. Miles Teller.
When I was writing the movie, I couldn't help but think of Paul because there are really funny guys and there are guys that can really act. But when you get that Venn diagram together, that's a pretty small universe. So when I was done with the script, Paul and I kind of knew some of the same people, and I reached out to him and gave it to him to read. He did not get back to me for 3 weeks, during which I thought that he hated me, and was trying to have me removed from show business. But thankfully, he did like it.
Is that true? Is it? I don't think that's not true.
I can give you the hours and seconds of how long it took him to get back to me. Well, you were busy. You were busy prepping on how to be a caregiver. No. No.
Definitely wasn't busy doing that.
Yes, no, you're very kind, but you were busy. That's okay.
Sorry, Rob.
But so once we had one of the great things of having Paul Rudd in your movie is once you get Paul Rudd, then everyone wants to be in your movie. So we had to set up like special switchboards in the office. No, it's just the truth. It's just the truth.
That is you being very kind. It's not true. Everyone, I think, the people wanted to be in this movie. A lot of people did because it's such a great script. Rob wrote such an incredible script based on this great book. If it really was 3 weeks, which seems far-fetched to me, it wasn't. I don't know what that would have been because I remember why. Because as soon as I read the script, I thought it was fantastic. I wanted to do it immediately.
It took you 3 weeks to read it. That's what happened.
That's probably true.
No, this is exactly what happened.
But I was busy.
I waited 3 weeks and then
preparing to be an ant.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
It takes at least 3 weeks.
But once we had Paul, the next part was Craig, and that we really, Donna and I knew that the movie would rise or fall based on that chemistry, and we considered, I think, actually probably most of the people here were considered at some point, everyone. And Craig came in and just killed it in the auditions. He's so natural and just has you did, I was there.
Don't lie.
Very sweet, and for a movie like this, there's a great asset to have Paul and Craig, who are kind of likable in repose. They just so you can. Who else can get away with that muscular dystrophy line? You're going to give her muscular dystrophy. You kind of need that stuff. So it was very. You know what? I just thought of a story. I've never told you this. I just thought of this. Here's how much people like Paul Rudd. I was driving. Listen to me. You're gonna like this. This is. I realized I've gotten through this all the press. I've never told this story. This is 100% true. We at one point we're going to do the movie in New Mexico. Donna and I went out and scouted. My daughter Lucy was there, and when we finished, this is true. We're driving. Lucy and I decide we're going to go to Las Vegas. So we start driving in the middle of the desert, and I'm a law-abiding citizen, but all of a sudden I see flashing lights, and I look, and I'm doing like 96 miles an hour at 3 o'clock in the morning in the middle of New Mexico, and I get pulled over, and this woman comes over, a woman policeman comes over and I'm terrified. It's New Mexico, I'm out of I don't know. The next minute I'm not proud of, just as a premise. I'm not proud of what I'm about to tell you. I'm not proud of this. She comes to the window, and I begin spewing every piece of show business I can muster for myself. Why that should get me out of a speeding ticket makes no sense, but sometimes it works. So I start saying, I work for the David Letterman, not in a bad way. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Do you know I work for the David Letterman show? And I look, nothing. I did a show called Ed, nothing. I'm babbling for 15 minutes, and I go, I'm scouting a movie, and all of a sudden I said the name Paul Rudd. And like, the heavens opened up. And she gave me a warning. This is a true story. So, I don't know what it's like to be him, but just knowing him is amazing.
I get fucking tickets. That's what it's like. Clearly, I gotta go drive in New Mexico.
I tell you, there's one state trooper, you can do whatever you want. She loves him. It was the greatest.
One out there.
Paul Rudd evokes some craziness here at Sundance, too. I think last time you were on the stage, if I recall correctly, some woman asked you to, if you would be in her PSA. Do you remember that?
Oh, that's right, yes.
We did that one. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah?
No, she was
a lovely woman. Rob, you did so many great moments in this movie. One that occurred to me is, it's probably really good that Trevor wasn't pea-shy. Because,
I would have come back to our movie.
So that would have done it. We have time for one more question. So I'm going to let you pick your final question. Yeah.
All right. Who liked
Who is it?
Who's going to say something next? How about right here?
Thank you. I love the script, and it had such a natural way about it. But I am curious because the chemistry between Craig and Paul was so great. Was there any improvisation that showed up in the film?
Okay,
the funny parts.
Could you recap it? Sure.
There was any improvisation in the film. Yes, quite obviously the Slim Jim scene. I get full credit for that because I typed the words, "Let's put Paul Rudd in the movie." So other than that, but I enjoy both comedy and drama that kind of is more about kind of dynamics of characters rather than particular lines. So when you have two actors like this that kind of get that and understand that, then they can kind of go at each other, and sometimes great things happen.
I would say I love working with Craig, and you say like as far as like, that scene, it's Craig. His just kind of solemn face as he's looking at me doing it. Craig has such an ability, I think. It's true, he has such an ability, just what is so naturally funny, and doing it at such a low vibration, you understand every
It's lack of skill.
It's not.
I'm just stuck at that monotone.
It's not, and one of the things that was really fun to work on this with Craig is that it was just kind of fun to sit back and watch him. And as far as approaching some of this material, there was just this kind of innate ability with him and an understanding of how it was going to work, how he wouldn't overplay anything. But I just kind of sat back and marveled at him.
There was one moment, sorry to interrupt, there was one moment in the script, in the movie, that Craig wasn't exactly acting.
I actually hyperventilated.
Yes.
Like I lost all power in my body.
During that scene, when Paul pretends to lose the medicine, we were very short on time. Paul nailed his side of the scene amazingly in, like, I think 2 takes, but almost all of it's from the first take. And then we had a wrap at 8:30, and Craig and I discussed this, and you've got to sell this, you've got to really hyperventilate. So he hyperventilates to the point where he's losing feeling in his extremities and asking for a medic. And this was one of the highlights for me in the movie, because I look at my watch and it's 8:28, and I know if I say cut, nothing ever happens on a movie set in 2 minutes. So we're done if I say cut. So out of just desperation and love of the film, and I knew he would be happy in the end, I just screamed, "Stay in character, keep acting." And you see what he said, the line, my hands are numb, is him doing it. And one of the great things for me was when we finished it, Donna, who some of you know is a very acclaimed Academy Award winning producer, She comes walking over to me, and I think maybe I'm in trouble, I don't know. She walks over, and she just looks at me, and she goes, "You did good, kid." And she turns around to me. I'm like, "Thank you, we did it."
I also want to say something that we all already know anyway, that just working, I mean, like the chemistry, I just got on so well with Paul, and there's no way of looking bad opposite him. The only way to be bad was to not turn up. So yeah, it was just amazing. He's like our generation's Jack Lemmon. He's so bloody funny. It's very good.
All right, unfortunately, that's all the time we have. Thank you all for coming out. Let's give it up for Robert.